I walk into the club, and the sense of liquor sent my 6 cents on a sick voyage, and 6 bullets for looking senseless and seasick, stumbling on the sea ship. Strangely, I feel doom as I see these dudes down in the luck. These bullets that were life-size. And they were walking, talking, stumbling, sitting, spitting, smoking, choking, getting drunk. A bullet getting drunk, how absurd. It was big as me, rusty, dizzy. I said, what up? He said, word. Now his head was hung from having no fun and talking dumb, and I'm thinking, a bullet couldn't talk now, could it? But then again, how does it look for me to be talking to a bullet? I said, man, you look shot. He said, I'm unemployed. I said, well, dang, they fired you. He said, well, shoot, I had a blast, but I didn't go out with a bang. I said, what's your name? He said, I'm the assassin, and my boy's over there. Introduce yourself, but be careful, because they can be bad for your health. But I asked the assassin, why they call you that? You need to change your name to Safety and hold your boys back. And by the way, why do you look so weathered? He put his drink down, smiled, and said, I'm the bullet that killed Medgar Evers. I've halted political movements with one shot. They no longer call it the movement, but the one that was not. I was the reason for those riots in Watts. I was the shot that shot first when they shot Malcolm and carried him in the hearse. King was a blessing, and I was a curse. What's worse is that my eyes are like a falcon's from a sniper's rifle. I'm trifling because they always blame the psycho. And I catch you while you're preaching, coming down mountaintops. I'd be the shot that shot the kid down the block that had the toy Glock when I was employed by the cops. And if a politician acted out of line, I was the remedy. For I was the bullet that took out Kennedy. And I was like no other. When I was done with him, I took down his brother. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. That was me that took out Lincoln. I am presidencies with no hesitance, resisting even your soul will need a new residence. Throughout time, I took out Christmas addicts, Emmett Till, and Marvin Gaye. I've been here a long time, fool, check my resume. Time wanted me to stop killing when I took out Emmett Till, but I told him you only as good as the last man you killed. Now look at all the trouble I've been starting. I don't care if your name is Lil Wayne or Trayvon Martin. Just watch when I come to your block and these choppers be sparking. Now I love when rap magazines instigate the fighting and the beef between crews. I can't wait to take out all the 50 cents and Ja Rules. They say 50 brags, he got shot 9 times and he thinks he can win. Well, if 9 bullets ain't stop him, I want to be number 10. But I tell you why I sit here in pity. It was right after I took out Pac, then Biggie. That's the reason I got fired, because they went out as martyrs and I didn't start a riot. So time fired me before I could blink. But I want to keep working till you brothers are extinct. Because when a gun's in your hand, you brothers don't think. So now I see here sipping this drink. It's okay, I took out many heroes, these Supermen, as some would put it. It's just a daggone shame none of them were faster than a speeding bullet. And I stand there thinking, a bullet couldn't talk now, could it?
I want to first start about this thanking y'all. As you very well know, you invite 100 people and this is what you get, right? So if we was having a twerking contest, giving away free pork ribs, line would have been down the street around the corner. However, for something so what I consider so important, consider yourself to be torch bearers, because somebody got to keep the torch lit. So that way when people do wake up, they got some sense of direction which way to go. So the purpose of the gathering is Kwanzaa 2020. And what has happened is, as you all know, that because of COVID-19, things have changed. So we have to do a lot of this virtual. In order to get all of it, get a full program, we have to pre-record some of it. So this is exactly why we're here, why we're gathering together. Cincinnati has been invited to participate in the statewide Kwanzaa as well. So this footage will be used for the statewide Kwanzaa. So what will happen is each day we'll film this in 10-minute increments, talking about one principle at a time. We'll just do a short segment. We'll introduce ourselves, say where you're from. We are from the Cincinnati, the Citywide Kwanzaa Committee. I also represent Root Season Oil. We also represent the Conscious Mind Study Group, as well as CPAC, the Cincinnati Pan-African Coalition. So just feel free, don't just act like the camera's not even there, and we'll just have a candid conversation. The topic is this. We want to know the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. What do you think about each principle from a personal perspective, as well as how do you plan to implement these principles in your daily walk moving forward? It can be a bit challenging to try to implement all 7 of these principles on a daily basis for 365 days. But what happens is when you make that attempt, then it turns into a lifestyle. It's no coincidence that I dress the way I dress. I don't just dress up like this for Kwanzaa. If you know me, you know that I'm liable to step out the house any given day of the week. It's a lifestyle, right? We've been practicing Gye-Nyame here at the store for several months consecutively. We started June the 19th for Juneteenth. And we never stopped. So you can actually do it. You can actually do it collectively. How do I know this? Because we've done it. If you're in this room, you've been a part of the process since June, and now it's December. So that's 6 consecutive months we've been practicing Gye-Nyame, and we've been doing it with the community. And half of the community didn't even know what they was doing. They just did it because it seemed like the right thing to do. So again, that makes you, if you're in this room, listen to my voice, a torchbearer. You keeping it lit, so that those who don't know, when they do realize they got somewhere to go, right? So Kwanzaa 2020. Kwanzaa was created to introduce, and you can go ahead and roll the camera at this point.
I've been rolling.
You've been rolling, okay. Kwanzaa was created to introduce and reinforce 7 basic principles of African culture. These values are called the Nguzo Saba, right? Or 7 principles. Which in Swahili means 7 principles. These principles, or the Nguzo Saba, stand at the heart and the origin of the meaning of Kwanzaa. This is what Dr. Malana Karanga describes as the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. He started Kwanzaa in 1966. Make no bones about it, Kwanzaa is not a substitute for Christmas. Kwanzaa is our own cultural expression of the first fruits, of the harvest. It's what we do collectively, particularly as Africans here on the North American continent. It's ours. Claim it. Make the most of it. Embrace it. Pass it down to your children. One of the things that we suffer from is the lack of self-esteem and a positive self-identity, because we're always trying to assimilate or associate with people who don't really want nothing to do with us. So it's important that we have things like Kwanzaa so that we can celebrate ourselves. With that being said, we'll talk about the very first principle, and that principle is umoja. You want to introduce yourself, brother?
I'm Juwan Gassett. I'm 27 years old. Martise is my girl. I got 2 kids, a daughter 4 and a son, he's 1. That's my mom.
Greetings, fellow Africans. I'm Chuma Lamu from the Conscious Mind Study Group. I also represent the Cincinnati Citywide Kwanzaa Coalition, as well as we're here at Root Season Oil, and I'm also representing CPAC, the Cincinnati Pan-African Coalition. So what we're doing is we are participating in our Kwanzaa rituals a little bit early. We're participating in the statewide Kwanzaa celebration. And we have different individuals from the Warrior class. And today we have your name, young lady?
Marty, I'm from Root Season Oils.
Marty from Root Season Oils. All right, go Marty. Thank you for being a part of. Right? You definitely could be anywhere else doing anything else. But thank you for taking the time out to be here with us as we celebrate Kwanzaa. One of the things that we didn't mention in yesterday's segment was the fact that how we greet each other. The traditional greeting around Kwanzaa time is Habari Gani. That means what's the news in Swahili. And so what you usually do is each particular day, no matter what principle it is, the answer is, the news is, today's principle would be Kujichagulia, so you would say, Habari Gani Kujichagulia. And it means the news is Kujichagulia, or self-determination. Right? So I want to greet all of you by saying, Habari Gani. Kujichagulia. All right. There we go. Thank you so much. So you care to read the definition of Kujichagulia?
Kujichagulia is self-determination. It's to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves.
Powerful words. Okay, so if you don't mind me asking, what exactly does that mean to you, self-determination?
Self-determination for me means creating the person that you want to be, and also setting boundaries for yourself and sticking to them and just staying true to you.
Okay, all right, great, sounds great. You know, I really like this piece where it says name ourselves. About 2014, I was given a community name, and it's been a challenge trying to live up to that name since I was gifted with that name. But it's so important when we talk about Kujichagulia that we name ourselves, right? Name ourselves and not take on the names that, you know, associate us with the oppression and so on and so forth. So one thing about the self-determination is that we can create for ourselves, we can name ourselves, and we can speak for ourselves. We don't have to have anybody else do that for us. We don't have to fit into what they consider the social norms. We can actually do it ourselves. You're seeing this a lot. You know, you're seeing a lot of brothers and sisters with natural hairstyles in the workplace, in corporate America, right? It's becoming more and more socially acceptable. That's Kujichagulia at work, right? That is black people in action, naming themselves, defining themselves, setting the new standard for beauty. That's self-determination, right? Okay, so Sister, do you have any specific plans to implement Kujichagulia into your daily walk throughout the course of the year?
Absolutely. I feel like every day I'm defining myself and walking in my purpose and learning myself more. So that's just something that's just going to continue to grow and continue to happen. Yeah, that's all I can say about that right now.
Ashe, great. Well, there you have it. Coming live from Cincinnati at Root Season Oil. Day number 2, the second principle, Kujichagulia. Woo.
Because the president is on the phone, she's not looking at the screen.
I am looking at the screen. I'm just like, I don't have control.
Okay, well, if you're looking at the screen, you can just go ahead and walk through it. I will write down some notes because I don't have the Word document up. So if you want to go ahead and go through it, that's fine. Perfect.
Okay, so I am here. Mr. Hargrove is not here.
Okay, I just admitted someone else. Hello.
Hello. That's Dinah.
Okay, Dinah. Thank you very much. The president is about to go through the agenda. And as soon as we get to new business, we're going to introduce everyone. And then Ms. Brogdon is going to do a piece. And then we'll go from there, okay?
All right.
Okay, Ms. President.
I just remembered the last time I was on, didn't we agree that we would start doing the roll call thing last?
Well, legally, the roll call for the officers present, he has to go first in order to conduct business.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the officer present, the 1 through 6.
I don't see Miss Jada's name up there anymore.
Jada's on
It's there. It's
she's
the
under number 6.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. You're on your phone. That's your screen is a little bit different.
Yes. Okay, so Mr. Hargrove is not here.
Right, I
Miss
got that.
Douglas is not here.
Okay.
Um,
I did speak to her earlier in the week, just so you know. She was working on her finals as well and working on her work schedule. So hopefully she's finished the finals. She may have had to work. So I just wanted to bring that up on the record.
I totally understand. Finals kicks just everything out of you.
Okay.
Miss Meyer Pierce.
She's working.
Okay. Miss Cosby is here. Mr. McWilson is here. Miss McCulley, not here. Mr. Warren, also not here. Miss Martha Brogdon is here. Could you scroll down a bit, please?
Yes.
Miss Hodge.
She hasn't come on yet, so she's not here. I'll
Okay.
remark her because she came on late last time.
Okay. Mrs. Pierce.
No.
Okay.
Okay, second page.
Okay. So budget, finance report, bank balance after payments.
I spoke to Mr. Wally Saladin in terms of the bank account. He was over at the bank making sure that for our next meeting, he can actually come on and kind of explain some things. One of the things in your reactivation package for national, there is an assessment of $75, which I think we approved earlier on. So on Tuesday of this week, there's a full document for assessment. And what I'm going to do is go over with him. And Martha, I'll call you because you'll see what's going on. But everything has been set up so it can only be done online.
Okay.
They've just changed everything. They don't want paperwork. They actually want it done online. So there is about a 20 or 30-minute explanation from the National Director of Finance on
Okay.
how to go about doing the assessment. And then once we do it, we'll put it online so we have it at the next meeting. But there's for youth units, it's $75 for the youth unit. I believe that that's already been done. Otherwise, they'll advance it and then bring it as an expense the next time around. But that's already been taken care of. The amount that's still in the account is the amount that was left after the expenses that were paid last month. Memberships, the host for the website, and I think there were 2 or 3 other. The $60 for the mail-in to the members. All that's been done, and that was the balance. Okay, so is either of the parents online?
Yes, this is Miss Pierce.
Hi,
Can you hear
Ms.
me?
Pierce. How are
Okay,
you?
I'm okay. You know, I always be having little technical difficulties, but I'm
I
here.
know. I explained that up front. So I had not marked that, but I will go ahead and mark that as a yes. I know Ms. Hodge had the same problem last time, so it's just good that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem.
Madam President, I do not clearly understand, and because the election is not over yet, and they're still looking at political actors, and Facebook and Twitter, and all of them are on extraordinary security. That's the only thing I can think that could be the problem of you coming on as an administrator.
Okay.
So I would suggest that by the time we get to the 3rd, that we use the month of January to try and get some sort of a breakthrough. And just so everyone knows what we're talking about, the Facebook, the president will be the co-administrator for that. the Facebook page, the website page. Ms. Cosby, who is online, will speak to us about that later. Instagram Vice President Douglas has that, and we'll set up a Twitter once we get someone to take the lead on that. But those things are already in place, and so those will be shared with you as we go along. And also on number 7, Madam President, we can do that after the first of the year.
Okay.
Now that you've taken your finals. Number 8 goes along with the reactivation package, which I did send out already. On the number 9 is already complete. All membership renewals are complete, and they should be receiving their membership card sometime either in January or February. And the secretary, I'll be talking to her about making a call to National, because they can actually give her a report. They can't give it to me. Only the secretary can get that report by putting in a call to National. And I do have that contact information, and then she'll be able to report back.
In regards to number 10, did you get my text message that I sent to you about needing more ink?
I did. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And just so everyone knows that the Youth Leadership Council does have its own Zoom. Right now, there was a decision not to pay for a full Zoom, so there's a 40-minute time limit. So this one, the Family Empowerment is donating the time so that we can do a full Zoom. But anytime there needs to be a short meeting of 40 minutes or less, actually the president or one of the officers can actually have side meetings, and there is a Zoom with a password and all that. That's already ready. Okay. Any questions so far? Anyone?
Is there anyone in the running for the treasurer?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
We may know some of that today because someone might be. So can we go back up to number 4 under old business?
Mm-hmm. Miss Jada.
Miss Cosby?
Yes. I'm sorry, we're on the webpage.
Yes.
I don't have anything to report just yet. Hopefully this week I will have time to do something.
Okay. All right. No problem. I understand school's been where it is. We did have this discussion, just for the record. Ms. Cosby and I did have a discussion. We did go through, there weren't a lot of things that she wanted to change. President Ferguson, now that you have got your stuff over, the two of you may want to have a conversation in case there's something that you would like for her to change that she has not seen.
Okay.
Okay, that can be an off the cuff because both of you have access and can look at it to see what needs to be updated. You can also ask, once we get to the new members, for them to look and see if is easy for them, and if they have any recommendations, they can get those back to council. So we do have a couple of new members on. James, I spoke to on yesterday. So James, if you would introduce yourself first.
Hi, I'm James Cottle.
And give us a little info, James.
What
grade are you in? What school do you attend?
I am in 10th grade. I attend Camel High School.
Okay.
And
anything else we need to know?
I'm dedicated. That's about it.
Oh, well, all right.
Well, very good, James. We're really glad to hear that. That's going to be that'll be a big deal. Very, very good. Thank you. And our next new member, is it Dana?
Dinah.
Dinah?
Hi, My name is Dianara Robinson Jennings, but I do go by Dinah. I'm 13, I'm in 8th grade, and I go to Lakeview Junior High.
Okay, great. Well, glad to have you both aboard, and your membership. Ms. Brogdon and I had already talked about it. The Family Empowerment Institute is sponsoring them and has already sponsored them. Their memberships have already, reports already been sent in, so they'll be getting a membership card as well. And as you can see on the new business, there were a couple of things, and I started talking to the president about this at the beginning. I had gotten a call from Dr. Jackson down in Columbus. And because each of the cities in the state could not do Kwanzaa this year, she asked me if everyone knew about Kwanzaa. And I said, well, that is something I would have to check with the team about. And I did, talk to Ms. Brogdon about it. And she said that she was well aware of it. And so in your actual email, let me go to the email again and bring that up. But I think I actually put it in the email itself, so everyone would be able to see what the principles were. Let's just see here. Yeah, here it is. Let me just share this. And I think I'm just going to let you take over once I put this up. Let me get it up here. So the issue is what, why, where, all this is. What do you know you don't know? How it can be helpful. I had a leadership academy in San Diego. It took the top spot in the nation. And part of that had to do with they used what's called 3-7. One was the 7 principles of the New Kasaba. One was the 7 habits of highly effective people for business. And the other one was the 7 senses that we all have, not just 5. We have 5 given senses according to the Creator. You're right now trying to get education sense, which is why you're going to school. And that's another kind of sense that you are now getting, learning about and how to use the first 5. And number 6 is the one thing that we hope you will come up with, having received all that, is you will have common sense. And common sense can be really important once you get your pre-K through 16 or pre-K through 18 done. But ultimately, you're going to need some common sense. And that's in short supply in a lot of places. And it's that common sense that rounds out the 7. So with that, I'm going to turn this part over on the Nugasaba and the celebration of Kwanzaa to Ms. Brogdon.
All right. I wanted to start it with a little bit about where Kwanzaa came from. Most Africans were forced to come to America against their will, and they came as slaves. Slaves were bought and sold, and people were treated like possessions. Many families broken, and people lived their whole lives without hope of freedom for themselves or their children. Kwanzaa celebrates the need to know about the past and to create a more positive future. After years of slavery, segregation, and the struggle for civil rights and justice, Black people in the United States wanted to rediscover their roots and take pride in their African ancestry. Kwanzaa celebrates the Black community and the unity and triumph of Black people. So I thought I would start with that, and then let's go. Let's talk about it. So we celebrate Kwanzaa from December 26th through January 1st. And each day we join our family and friends to light a special candle. We think about what it means to be a part of the Black community in America and in the world. We celebrate our ancestry. Kwanzaa was created in 1966 during the Black Power movement to honor African-American people and our struggle in the United States, our heritage and our culture. The name Kwanzaa means first fruits of the harvest. During Kwanzaa, we gather together to give thanks for the harvest, which brings us the good things of the earth. We remember the past and our ancestors who worked the earth, and we celebrate hope and promise for years to come. All right. A little bit about Africa is a huge continent. It has many countries, many people, and many different languages. The words we use to celebrate Kwanzaa come from the Swahili language. Swahili is spoken mostly in East and Central Africa, but you can hear it in places all over the world. About 35 million people speak Swahili. If you want to greet someone in that language, you should say jambo. That's our hello in America. Can I hear everybody? Can I hear a hello?
Jumbo.
All right. Well, thank you. Before the celebration begins, they decorate their homes with the colors and symbols of Kwanzaa. The colors are red, black, and green, and you can use wall hangings, African cloth, and special artwork. You can buy decorations, but it's more fun to make them for ourselves. Creativity is one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, so it's nice when we use our imaginations. In our decorations, we include many important symbols of Kwanzaa. There is a mat called a mkeka, and I hope that's the correct pronunciation, on our tables, and you arrange a fruit basket filled with fruits and vegetables on the mkeka to represent harvest. Ears of corn are placed on the mat, one for each child in your family. The kikombe cha umoja, or unity cup, is placed there as well. Most important is the kinara, the special candle holder, and the 7 candles that it holds. 1 black in the center, 3 red, and 3 green. Let's talk about what those candles represent for us. On the 26th of December, we light the first candle of Kwanzaa. It is the center black candle. That black candle stands for the unity of Black people. Unity means standing together and helping each other. Over the next 6 days, we will light 6 more candles, 3 red and 3 green, 1 on each day. The red candles on the left side represent our past. We remember our ancestors, many of whom were brought to this country as slaves. We think of their struggles and their triumphs. The green candles on the right stand for our future hopes and dreams for the future of our people. All right, so each day we will light another candle. Let's talk about the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Umoja, which is unity, striving for togetherness with our families and communities. Gemma, I'm going to ask you how to pronounce the second one because I'm not sure how it's pronounced and I don't want to be sounding crazy.
Well, Kujichagulia.
Oh, yeah, I would have really messed that up.
Yeah, well, just so that so that our youth council know, I'm a Kemetic Africologist. So I study from 7,500 years back to present. And I'm also Dogon, which is a group that comes out of that. And that is where I was adopted into the Dogon ethnic group. So that's the only reason I'm a little bit better at it, because I've been immersed in it for a long time. So Kujichagulia is hard to say, but it is very important because it's what you are doing right now. You're determining your future, what school you're going to go to, what you're going to be, how you're going to live your life, how you go forward in that green section of the candle, because basically you are the future that we're looking to take over as we go forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Number 3, Ujima, which stands for work and responsibility. We should work together to build and strengthen our communities. Ujama
Yes.
is for cooperation. building and supporting African American stores and businesses and benefiting from them together as a whole. We have to learn to do that with our people. NIA stands for purpose, setting personal goals to make your community strong. That's something that we have to work on as a unit because we do not do that, and it's important that we do that. Kumbaa is for creativity. All of us, that is something God gave us naturally. We are just a creative people. And so we should use it to think of ways to make our community and the world a better place. Leave your mark. Think about that. What can you create? What can you do to make this world better for the future generations? Because that's what we're looking forward to from you all. And then I think the most important is Imani, which stands for faith. Believing in ourselves, our parents, our communities, and the people around us. Faith it has to be strong because it's looking at our leaders and the righteousness of our struggle, because we are definitely still in a struggle. So our faith is what is going to bring us through that. So those are our 7 principles. So let's talk about on the 6th day or night of that holiday. Now we're talking food, which, we love food. They have a great feast called the Karamu. They dress in clothing and bright colors to display the patterns and colors of Africa, have drumming, music, and dance, and we sing and welcome as many people as we can. And of course, we eat. January 1st is the last day of Kwanzaa, and it is a quieter time. We have a farewell ceremony for Kwanzaa, and we greet the new year. It is time to focus on the things we have learned, give our gifts, and remember our roots and the traditions of our ancestors. We think of our struggles, we think of their struggles, and we talk about our hopes for the future. It's about remembering our roots. We wish for strength, and we wish to be united as one people to work together to make the world better for those to come in the future. We hope to preserve the good things in our lives and in our world. We hope to make the world a better place. And we're depending on the next generation to do that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know from an artistic standpoint that you are working with, is it Dana and James?
Dinah, James, and Lene. They're all part of my team.
I know. So I'm going to ask them to kind of give us their take on a few minutes of their take on what they've learned from you in relationship to this. If they don't celebrate Kwanzaa, have not heard this before, to give us their take on what you've said.
Can I ask a quick question before we do that?
Sure.
In what order do we light the candles? Is it like black, red, green, black, green, red, black, red, black, green, green?
Black, red, green, black, red, green, red, green.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, very good. That's a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone else? James?
When did this celebration begin?
1966. They started it here in the United States.
And the important things about Kwanzaa that she brought up before is an attempt here in the United States to celebrate celebrations that have been going on for eons. You can go back, I'm all the way back to 7,500 years before, to the Kemetic dynasty in the Kemetic culture. and you have the Asante, you have the Zulu, you have the Hausa, you have the Fulani. So just like you have people that are French or British or Swedish, you have those types of ethnic groups, multi-ethnic groups within our particular African diaspora. But within this particular one, if you look at what they're doing in terms of Central and South America, there are over 100 million Black African descendants in Central and South America, and they celebrate at their African culture. There's some cities with as many as almost 300,000 African descendants, and they make up 80 to 90% of the city.
Mm.
So Kwanzaa here in the United States was an attempt to get back to those things that are very important for us. Dinah?
It's not a question, but I just wanted to say that I do think that it is very important because it does, one, help people, especially like me, I didn't even know about this, learn more about Black culture. And I think it's just a great thing to celebrate our ancestors. Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so very much. Martha, I'm really glad that you were able to go over this with our youth and make it a part of the council's understanding within this time frame. There's a lot of celebrations going on of different faith, of different groups, and this just happens to be the one that gives us some ability, 7 principles that we can use as we also respect everyone else's way of doing things. But all of this was taken away from our ancestors as we were brought into this country, as Ms. Brogdon said. You could not celebrate anything. You could not read, write, or whatever. And this is really the importance of unity. It's the importance of the faith and the unity of purpose and the self-determination in terms of Kujichagulia. So all that self-determination is what you have now and what you're going to take in the future, which is what's going to make it better. And that's the whole reason for you having your own NAACP Youth Leadership Council, where you can actually come together and make decisions. And so I thank you, and I thank Ms. Brogdon for taking the time to bring this to us and letting us know some of the things that we may not know, and we can follow through in the coming year as she becomes a part of the council of advisors to you as you run your own organization. So Martha, welcome. I welcome the parents every week. And by the time we hit January, we're going to be ready to go. Everything should be activated. Our letters should be out. Our unit number is unit 3806. It is independent from the adult unit. It has its own website. It has its own Facebook page, it has its own Instagram council. And as it stands right now, we have approximately 50 members in total around the city. So I think building on that and expanding out of that. And as the president said before, we're looking for an acting treasurer before we get to an election. So either one of you talk to your parents and see if you can fulfill a leadership role. And we'll be more than happy to entertain that at our next meeting on the 20th. So again, Martha, you want to say, you want to say something about the word Harambe within this context?
Look, because of COVID, we can't do anything. Harambe is, of course, it's a type of dance.
Right.
And you know, that would be so up my alley because of my background.
Well, I thought
we would have been doing something.
I thought I would bring it up so the next time you could actually build the Harambe dancers into it. And
yes, I would love to. I mean, you know, because it would be really nice next year, hopefully, if we get back to some normalcy in this madness, we would be able to do, you know, an evening of about all of this.
Right.
Because so many of our people do not know about it.
Right.
And it's important, like you said, it is important that our youth learn these things, and they're the ones that are going to carry the tradition, because we've all, we're all brainwashed with the Santa Claus tradition, which don't get me wrong, because I'm a Christmas nut, but I know who brings stuff to my house, and he ain't in the real. But okay.
Right.
If I may interject with a question.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, one, I think it's really cool how, all 7 of them come together to basically create love. Like, those are the baselines of what you need to build a strong community, a family, and all that stuff. And what my question was that why did they choose those specific vegetables and fruits to represent those things in the family and all that stuff?
Well, one of the things that I have had the opportunity, I was involved with both my son and my mentee. I took them to what is known as a scholars symposium. And so people such as Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Theophile Mbongo, Chinwezu, Asa Hilliard, Malani Karenga, they all came together, and part of it was, as was stated earlier, part of it is knowing the Swahili words and then understanding what those words mean. And they're not in a particular order in your life. They're in a particular order for presentation. So if in the way you look at things, you first think of your faith, you then think of your purpose, you then think of your self-determination. So it's a way you can turn those to whatever fits into your life. And as I said at the very beginning, one of the things that I most certainly want to get out, especially the new year, is the 3 7s, the 7 habits of highly effective people, because you're going to have to deal in the business world. You're going to have a bank account. You're going to have to not have a bank account, but you're going to have a bank account, whether it's in a real bank or whether it's in under your mattress. You're going to have a bank account because you have to pay rent, you got to get a car, you got to buy food. And so you're going to be in the economic area. So that's the Gye-Nyame area, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and the profit from them together. So each time, and whatever it is you're going to do, somewhere within the context of that, it's contained within these 7 principles. And so it's up to you independently to order things in your life. Now, if you look at the symbols to the left, each of those symbols, if you look them up, they have a specific African meaning from a specific African ethnic group. So it's not just things that you see. These are actual things from the continent itself, and actually ethnic groups on the continent itself. So that's a very important question. But again, it's all going to come back to each of you and your self-determination, how you live your faith, and what you see as your purpose. And how you order those in your life will make the difference. Go ahead.
But what about the vegetables? Like, why did they choose those specific, like why the corn for the children? Why the pumpkin? Why the squash?
Tradition. When you go to, when you start looking at the foods, in the African culture, each culture has, each ethnic group within that culture has certain things that are very important to that group. But in the overall sense, it's really about the harvest. So it could be different fruits, it could be different vegetables that you're actually using. But the idea is you're bringing together, I would say it's more similar to what would be in the American culture, a potluck. What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table for the children? What do you bring to the table for the adults? You wouldn't bring vodka for the children to the table. I'm just saying. You might bring Kool-Aid, You might bring your soda, but you wouldn't bring vodka. And so I'm just saying the things that you choose as you look into the culture, as you look into Swahili, as you look into the Ashanti, as you look into the Fulani or the Twi, the Zulus, the Hausas, these are all ethnic groups on the continent, more than 1 billion people right now. So you can actually look some of those things up, which we will be doing as we go forward.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so don't get tied to just what's on the screen of what someone has chosen. It is really about the coming together to celebrate your history, your culture, and especially what I call, and I had to learn this myself, I wanted to know the history of our people pre-Greek, pre-Rome, pre-Ab, pre-Persia. I wanted to know all that. And that's what I learned first. When I went back that far, I became a very clear person in my head about my purpose and my determination about what I wanted to do. And I think that'll come up in your future as you go along, because you won't necessarily get it pre-K through 12. You may not get it pre-K through 16. So some of this is going to be your determination to find out about your past as it relates to our people. So you're talking about peoplehood versus personhood. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Dana and James, I am excited that you are aboard. And thank you so much for getting on the line today. The meetings are normally 4:30. We have one on the 20th. That will be the last one for the year. And then it'll be on the 3rd. There's an email that will go out. If you go on the website and just join there, your email address will be sent. So you'll go on the list and it'll automatically be sent to you. So you can keep up with what's going on. Okay. Madam President?
Yes.
Do we need a motion to close the meeting, or do you have any other questions?
I will motion to end the meeting.
Second.
All right. Was that Ms. Cosby?
Brogdon.
Okay, Ms. Barton is second. It is so moved, so second. And we can close the meeting with a very good meeting. And we're done in less than 45 minutes.
Very
So
good.
again, we got a lot of stuff done. Normally our meetings are what, Madam President, about 30 minutes, unless there are questions and other issues. In the new year, we will have something from everyone, from the mayor to the president of council, president of the Chamber of Commerce, a whole list of people that we will have present themselves and what they do, so that the team, the council, is on their radar screen in terms of what they're doing. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you much. Everyone have a good, safe holiday, and we will see you.
All right.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video. Watch.
Cautionary tale, and this is the reason why I'm telling it, is because that could have been me when I was 20, 21, 20, 21, 22. That was this girl I really, really liked, man. You know, I was dating her, and she made me work for it. You know, I had to work to get in the dough. So I liked her, you know, I'd earned her. When I would write, I would put a sign on the door, do not disturb, and I would unplug the phone. I would give myself 5 minutes to dedicate toward my craft every single day, no matter what was going on in my life. Didn't matter if I was broke, didn't matter if there was a death in the family, didn't matter if I was in a bad mood, didn't matter if I was going out that night. It didn't matter. 5 minutes minimum. That means research, planning, plotting, writing, doing something towards my goal.
Man, Willie D is a hip hop legend, man. I still remember that song. I'm gonna make you read these Nikes. I didn't wear Nikes, but you know, I tell a motherfucker in a second, I'm gonna make you wear I'm gonna make you see these Bobos. Keep fucking with me, right? Even up to this day, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel these combat boots. Keep fucking with me. But hey, enough of that. Let's get this adventure started. All right, family. Man, Willie D is going from stumping brothers to dropping ancient wisdom. Please pay attention to what Brother Willie D is saying on here, because this was one of the most impactful memes I've been able to do. Willie D breaks down an ancient proverb. Now, I talk about a book on my show, that I use every week. It's called The African Openers to the Tree of Life. In this book, there is a proverb that says the best life is gained by interacting with systematic processes. And what Brother Willie D is breaking down is you learning how to develop a systematic process for yourself. He is challenging, well, at least he's giving you his process, and the process worked for him, and it worked for many masters before him. Please understand, you come from a culture, right, that is centered around mastery. All right. Now, how do you make that happen? These are the keys that he gave you. He said no matter what happened, he didn't care whether it's a funeral, a celebration, 5 minutes a day he would dedicate to his craft. He had a space just for his craft. He would put a sign up on the door. He would unhook his phone, unplug from the world, and get inside himself and start creating. Family, if you're going to be a master at something, you got to do that. Now I want you to think about the math on that, because he said on those some days he would do at least 5 minutes. So this means there would be times where he would go beyond 5 minutes, but he set the 5 minute a limit on himself, because sometimes you know how we be falling off. So I might not want to be there, but if I sit there with the pen and I do what I need to do for 5 minutes, I sit editing for 5 minutes, I sit creating beats for 5 minutes, I sit writing my book for 5 minutes, I dedicate myself to something every day for 5 minutes, no disturbances. I can at least do 5 minutes. But once you fall into it, those that have done this type of stuff before, when you doing something you love, often time disappears and you fall into the zone, and before you know it, 3 hours have went by. It has happened for me, and hopefully you have found something in your life where it happens for you. Now, when you do the simple math, right? He said 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes a day. That's 365 times 5. 365 times 5 is 1825. 1825 that would be, in every year he would spend 1825 minutes on his craft. Now that breaks down to somewhere around 30 hours. 30 hours a year is what he's saying that you need to do. 1 day a year, spread out throughout the year, where you are dedicating to your craft. How can you not become the best, right? Especially as the time start expanding, right? A lot of us just want to get up and we just want to do something. We God's gift. We got a special gift. What Willie D is breaking down is one of the key components in mastery: dedication. You have to sacrifice that time. You have to set that 5 minutes. Set your 5 minutes up, family. Yo, let us help you. You can join us on gnj.media. We have a course called the 21-Day Nguza Cyber Challenge that can help you to establish this 5-minute period for yourself over a 21-day period, right? And then after the 21 days, either lock in or it won't. You know what I'm saying? We can at least help you establish it and get a practice going. You know what I'm saying? Also, come join us on our site, gnj.media. Join the tribe and let's build. We can help you create ebooks, e-courses. We can help you start your podcast. We can help you start your stream or stream and podcast at the same time. We can edit your videos. We can help you create commercials. We can help you with creating a social media presence. All right? So family, I want to thank you for joining us. This is Brother Hatim of Gye-Nyame Journey, and see you on the next adventure. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video. Watch. Moments. I'm trying to wait for everybody to get in. My battery's low. Y'all come on in real quick. Come on in. Come on in. I want everybody to see. We streaming like right now. Here is a weapon. We're streaming on 5 platforms all at once right now. Right? I'm not streaming a fight. I'm not streaming no silliness. I'm not streaming an argument. I'm not streaming a little kid cussing somebody out. What I'm streaming is a group of people that got together as a tribe to eat together and to learn something. So with the world right now, can y'all share something that you learned today? Anybody?
We learned about like guns in society.
Guns in society. Okay. Uh-oh, we might be in trouble, y'all. Go ahead. What? Come on now.
He said that white people think of their guns as an extension of their being.
Who? You know who said it?
Nick Cannon?
Was it Nick Cannon or was it the professor with him? That's
I felt like it was
Professor Carr.
Yeah, it was probably that.
Hold on, I'm coming over there.
Also, I learned that violent video games at a young age can influence like school shootings and all that. So you shouldn't let your kids play video games.
I got a question for you then. If video games can desensitize you to mass school shootings, why aren't there more black kids doing mass school shootings?
Because we get whooping.
Oh, okay.
Because our parents we have that's because we don't ask our parents. This is why
we don't get privileges.
Playing Fortnite. No.
All right, so now, homework tonight. Homework until the next time we meet, because right now, whether y'all know it or not, this is one of our holidays. We're moving into Kwanzaa, but Kwanzaa is preceded by the winter solstice. Do anybody know what the winter solstice is?
Yes.
What is it?
When enter the middle of when fall goes into winter.
Okay, fall going into winter, but what happens with the sun? Symbolically.
The longest night of the year.
It's the longest night of the year, which means that in a lot of traditional cultures, the sun is dying and it is being reborn right now. Because right now, if you'll notice, this is the longest. Yesterday was the longest night of the year. Today is going to be the second longest night of the year. And now this is the building up of male energy, all the way up until we hit spring. And it's going to continue growing all the way until the next solstice. Do anybody know when the next solstice is?
No. Something like the next 20 years. Next 20 years.
That's the equinox.
Oh, you cheated. $21 for the one who gets it.
Summer.
Damn.
Next summer. Summer. Spring.
$100 million.
Summer.
Summer when?
Spring.
Summer. I mean, August. Summer.
All right, nobody got it. It's June 21st. Now, you shouldn't have been whispering. I didn't hear you, girl. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
You got to talk up louder now. So now here's the homework. One of the things that we do here as a cultural stabilizer is that we pour libations. We pour libations. So until the next time we meet, I want you to think of somebody that may have been in your life, that may have influenced you. And once a day, I want you to pour a libation for them. Simply grabbing water or taking a little bit of food and pouring to their ancestor. Because it's important, because our ancestors are what connects us. But go ahead, Chris, you had your hand up.
I was about to ask a question. So that person should no longer be living?
That person should no longer be living. They should no longer be at least living in the way that we know it. So if there's any questions, I could go and answer any questions while we on here, because every morning I get up, I do something called a daily toast, where we basically salute our ancestors. So some of your ancestors might be on that list. If not, you can put them on that list, and I will be pouring for your ancestors on a daily basis.
Anybody you want to put on the list?
Oh, Mr. Burks. I'll tell him, can I do my...
No, you don't have anybody on
I was saying, can I do my oblation?
So for the next camping trip, those that know what the omblature is, he asked, can he do his omblature? So now we got people stepping up.
Who asked?
He asked.
Oh, you weird.
We had 2 people that have went through their omblature. We got 3 actually. Where Juicy at?
Juicy Trey.
Huh? All right, well, we might only have 2 presenters, but for Kwanzaa, we got Clean, who's supposed to be getting ready because he did his omblature, and we got Tykees, who should be getting ready to present, but he was back here talking, playing on his phone. I hope you ready, man.
I'm ready.
You ain't okay? All right, he gonna be presenting for Kwanzaa, right? So I hope y'all ready, because we gonna go and we gonna show out at Kwanzaa. Huh? Oh yeah, he came, he did the next Kappa trip after Cleve. So we're gonna be arranging the Kappa trip, and we will, for those that want to do their omblature, we'll do it, and maybe this year we might be able to actually do a warrior dance. Warrior dance. I don't know. I got to do it first, because I can't ask y'all to do something I ain't do. So I got to do it. So that means I'm going to have to dance for 12 hours.
Oh, that's deep.
No, it won't be 12 hours.
Dance?
Yeah.
Depends on when we do it.
It depends on when we do it. Sunset to sunrise. Which means...
So you can't stop moving?
Can't stop moving. You're going to have to be moving around the fire. And it's like, and we're going to be going in a counterclockwise direction. And hopefully we will have drummers and the rest of the community out. And maybe some of the older nation builders and warriors could participate. What's up?
Is it like a challenge or?
No, basically we simulating our run to freedom. See, because y'all say, oh, running. I could imagine running. But we had ancestors that ran from Mississippi to Canada. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to think about that. We had ancestors that ran from Mississippi to Ohio, from Texas to Ohio, through Ohio to Canada, on foot. So I'm saying, hey, we're going to get up and do it. Feet don't fail me now.
And some of them was shoeless.
And some of them was shoeless. Most of them was shoeless. So the challenge is, somebody repeat what the challenge is until the next time we meet. Oh, no.
Dancing around the fire counterclockwise until the sunrise.
No, that is not. No, that is not the. That's not the challenge for you.
Oh, the pouring for your ancestors.
Pour for your ancestors. Now, since y'all young, y'all can do plastic cups. Grown folks in the room, please don't pour libations with a plastic cup.
What
do you come on and do libations in the morning?
Between 5:15 and 5:30 on the weekdays. During the weekend, you catch me when you can.
And can you text the number to get notified, or it don't work for me?
Yeah. I'm got them working on that. The number to sign up for the toaster, you type in toaster to 77292. Text toaster to 77292. You will be on the list, so whenever I go live, the Daily Toasters get everything. So that's the Kwanzaa announcements, the community announcements, every show I do, they get it. All you got to do is sign up. Gye-Nyame Journey already paying for it. So. Got it. All right. What's the question, Sasha Mark? One who is experienced or involved in conflict.
What does the word mean? We protect our nation by developing our spirit-minded people.
There's conflict on all levels, I am ESP, and are willing to give our lives in the process.
All right. Hey. All right, so I'm about to sign off because my battery is about to go dead. Huh? To the east.
I have a question.
Freedom. Peace in the spirit, mind, and body.
I got a question for you.
Peace is harmony and order.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Me, I got a question.
That's the wrong question. How many first?
I have a question.
All right, so family, we got to get this room back the way it was. And, all right, family, we're about to sign off. I don't know if anybody was on, but you need to be at the warrior training. You see all the babies. Go ahead.
Question. How would a warrior, must a warrior become great?
He must die. Peace. My name is Brother Hatim. I'd like to welcome you to the Self-Mastery Moment on this Gye-Nyame journey. You can check me out on my blog at gyenyame.blogspot.com. Now, what I want to do today is talk to you first about why I'm here. I'm here because I'm a self-mastery coach. I want to make sure that everybody understands what it means to be a self-mastery coach and what self-mastery is. Self-mastery is a process of learning to control yourself. Now, first I need to define self for you before I get into the story I have for you today. The self can be defined as those absolute, complete, and perfect qualities of a being that are not dependent on external circumstances. So what I'm saying is that you are perfect. You are absolute. You are complete. So what that means is that there's something else going on that limits us. And the things that we need to master in the self-mastery process are those things. Number one being that personality. Number two, the ego. Number three, the emotions. We got to learn how to master these and use these for what we need. So the stories that I bring you during these self-mastery moments will be stories and lessons to help you accomplish that. So the first story I'm going to tell you is a little bit about me. Because in self-mastery, we have to make sure that everybody understands that we all have similar struggles. We all have problems. We all have a history. And we need to learn that history. So, here we go. Now, this is a story about myself. When I was younger, I was crazy about martial arts. I love Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee taught about going beyond your limits. So I always look for a martial arts class. And in looking for this martial arts class, I didn't have no money. And my mama didn't have no money. So, of course, I had to find a free class. So in order to be part of this class, one of the things that you had to do was you had to pass, in a sense, the initiation. You had to pass, be in the class for a while, and when the master recognized you, he would let you in. So I stayed there 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I can't remember exactly how long before I became a member of the class. This was when I was about 12 or 13 years old. Well, anyway, the master one day recognized me, and he told me to come meet him after class. So I went to meet him after class. As we started talking, he started letting me know that he was going to set me in the class, and I was so excited, man. It's just like, this is a dream come true. I'm actually going to be a martial arts student, And his brother, as he was breaking it down to me, he looked at me, just like I'm looking at you right now in the camera. And he said these simple words to me. He said, I know you. You don't remember me, do you? And I started thinking. I sat back and I looked at him. And I didn't want my master to know, my new teacher to know that I didn't know what he was talking about. No, I didn't remember him. But in my mind, immediately I went to all the negative things that I had done in my life. And I started wondering, was he one of the individuals that I have offended in my life? Was he the person was he the father of the child bike that I stole? You know what I'm saying? Was he the sheriff that tried to arrest us one day and I bit him in his hand so me and my little friends could get away? Was he somebody who owned a window that I had broke? Was he a substitute teacher that I was disrespectful in class with? I didn't know where I knew this man from, but I knew I wanted to be in his class, and I didn't want my past to affect that. And as he looked at me and he seen the confusion in my eyes, he said, I know you. You don't remember me, do you? So I finally had to fess up, and I said, no, I don't remember you. He said, don't worry about it. One day, you'll remember, and just think about it. So I started this class, and this man invested time in me. He taught me about myself. He taught me about my limits. He taught me how to push past my limits. This man invested time in me and taught me how to be a man through martial arts. He showed me where my weaknesses was and showed me how to work through those weaknesses and get those weaknesses to start working for me. He trained me. He pushed me. Every day that I went to practice, he pushed me to my limits. He invested his time in me. And as time went on, about 2 years, I started playing football, and I really got into football, and I really got into school, and at that time I really started getting into girls, so I eventually start not having the time to spend with my master. So time and people and places being the way they were, I went my way, he went his way. He eventually went to prison for something, and I went to high school. When he came out, he would come around the house looking for me, but I was too busy for this man who invested in me. This man who became a father to me. Better yet, he even deeper than becoming a father, he was a teacher, and not only was he a teacher, he was my master, and I didn't have time for him. So eventually I graduated from high school because of some of the stuff that he taught me, because of the discipline he gave me. I graduated from high school and I went to college. And while I was in college, probably my 3rd year there, I got word back from Akron just talking to somebody that my master had passed. And feeling bad and really realizing what I had done, I had turned my back on this man who invested in me, who did something that my own father didn't do. I got too busy for him. I went back to give him the proper respect that he deserved, and I wanted to go see his gravesite. So when I went home, I went to his gravesite. And as I was walking to the gravesite, I heard his voice in my head, and it rung, and it was so loud and it was so clear, it was as if he was there, and he said, I know you. You don't remember where you know me from, do you? And as I walked towards the grave, I kept hearing his voice, and as I stood over the grave, it finally came to me where I knew this man from. And in that moment, I started to cry and I started to laugh, because in that moment, everything, not just where I knew him from, but everything in life became clear for me, at least in that moment. And I started laughing and I started crying and I thought about it. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful thought. And that ends the story. Like I said, my name is Brother Hatim. I'd like to welcome you to my little space in between time and space. I'd like to welcome you here. I'd like to ask you to come read my blog and just get these lessons. We'll learn together and we'll build together and we'll grow together. Oh, I know some of you are probably wondering where I knew him from. And because I don't want to betray my master's trust again, I'm going to give you the same gift that he gave me. I'm going to say it to you exactly like he said it to me. And I'm going to look directly at you like he looked at me. And I'm going to say, I know you. I know you. You don't remember me, do you? I know you. You remember where you know me from, do you? I promise you one thing. When you finally discover where I know you from, you, just like me, will understand everything in that moment. Everything will become clear to you. So once again, this is Hot Tim. I'd like to thank you for your time. With that, I say peace.
Mr. Diddy.
Our Kemetic principle, our history from way back when. For how far back? Way back when. Right. So we have the history in which this is based on. We have two of the figures here, which is a Saw and a Set, and one figure is missing because that's in our spirit right now, and we representing that from right here, which would be the child that come forward, which is by the name of what?
Heru.
Heru. So we were looking at it that way. One of the things that we have to take a look at is that the Kawaii, which Kwanzaa comes out of, has two basic principles that it must take a look at. It says tradition and reason. This is our tradition here. This came first. This is the foundation of everything we take a look at. This is the tradition of what we understand to be the foundation of what we do. From that tradition, 1965, the Kawaii was done with the US organization in California. From that document, 1966, comes out of it Kwanzaa, which was just a little pamphlet, but it talked about African culture. It talked about we had a culture, and it named something that was important, and that importance was land. If I'm Chinese, I'm from where?
China.
If I'm Japanese, I'm from where?
Japanese.
If I'm British, where am I from?
British.
If I'm Irish, where am I from?
Irish.
But Negro had no land. Colored had no land. None of them had land, according to this culture. So as we moved into 1966 and Kwanzaa, based on all of the cultures in Africa, that's where it was taken from all over. The foundation was to take a look at the land first. And when they took a look at the land, they said, yes, this is where we're from. So we start calling ourselves African. And to represent the land, we then put down what was called mkeka, or the straw mat. And the reason why it's straw is because all of the artifacts here in Kwanzaa have a life cycle. That means they come and go. That means they breathe, and then they go, and then they come back. They have that life cycle. So the mkeka is the straw mat. It represents the land mass. It represents the foundation of the culture and the land, the culture of Africa. And therefore, everything that is done is set on or touching this land mass or touching this. So we took a look at that. Then the next piece that we added or came out was the Kanara. The Kanara itself has at least two principles because it represents the male and the female energy, not male and female people, but also it does that too. And the Kanara also has a front and a back. And you determine that when you get your Kanara and how you get your Kanara. In this particular one, we have the Sankofa bird on it, who is looking at the egg and protecting the egg. And the egg presents the future. Now, as I'm standing behind the Kanara, if I'm standing here as a person, because remember, the Kanara represents the people, okay? The two people, the original people of what land?
Africa.
Of what land?
Africa.
Okay, there we go. Now we're working with it. And it has a right and a left. But if you're in front of the Kanara, your right is where? On that side. And your left is where? So you must know where you are, which is one of our principles, Nia, to know where you are. So the Kanara that is placed on the Mukega or the mid-store mat, it's called a candle holder. It must be in wood. That's what our family is saying. If it's not in wood, it means it's representing something else, which is okay, but that's not what we're doing. We're doing it in wood. Now, in order for the family, the founding family, to exist on the land, they must have, the simple word would be rules. But another word would be principles. Because as you go, higher and higher, you get different. The first principle that must have been understood would have been that the male and the female must be what? United. They must be one. So when you say 1 plus 1 equals 1, and that's because they are united. And that is represented with the male principle and the female principle, or the male energy or the female energy represented together in Umoja. And we call that Umoja. And that sets in the center. And the way we do it then, everything comes out of that. There's other ways of doing it where things come on the outside and come to it. What we're saying is once mom and papa there, everybody's good to go. So then the next principle comes from the red side, because we have to fight with our what we call our earthly instincts and our spiritual instincts to get things done. And that would be the one on the right, my right, your left, Kujichagulia, which would be self-determination. You can't have self-determination if you don't know who you are, and where you're going. So that, and you're African, you're going from an African principle, you're looking at the world from an African point of view, that's what we're saying. So that would go to the right. Next, it's not just you, it's others that you work with. And that is, when you work with others, you and others, y'all have to pull things together from a collective work and responsibility mode. So that would be, what's the name? Ujima. And that would be over here on the left. Next, we go back to the right again, because we're coming out of it. Now, this one is, what is it? Uja what?
Ujima.
Ujima, right? And what is Ujima?
Collective work and responsibility.
Oh, that's what I did here. That's collective work. Now, why is collective work and responsibility red? They would ask ourselves, because all we deal with is green money. Well, remember, the most important money thing is the interaction between people. That is the most capital that we really observe. That bloodline where we help each other obtain something. You come over and help me build a house. You come over and help me fix the car. That is where we're really at with this bloodline thing, with that. So we take a look at that on the red side. And that is what? Ujima. Right, Ujima. And next, we would have one that we really ought to take a look at all the time. And that is Nia, which is purpose. So before you set out, you have to have purpose. And you have to know your target. Where are you going? Brother over here talked about I think it was a week ago, he talked about the being able to focus. And inside your brain, there's this mechanism that helps you focus and keep you focused. And if that's not, well, you got to focus. You got to know what the target is.
Word. You
got to know where you're going. You got to know what the purpose. What is the purpose for us being? We got to know that. And we place that in too. And then the next was one that's most understood. Because we do a lot of singing, and we do a lot of dancing, and we do a lot of, hey, I don't know what time it is for this. We do a lot of improvising, and we do a lot of, hey, boss, you over there? See, we do a lot of joking, and hey, how many does it take to screw a light bulb? We do all this joking. We think that's creativity. That's not creativity. This creativity is us getting through that voyage, us getting through all the things that we got through, and we still wind up together as one. Now, we have trouble in the family, but that's okay, because the family knows what the family's supposed to do. So this one here, this one right here, this one, creativity, Kuumba, that's the one. That's the one with pencil and paper. Some of us can do the math in our heads. Some of us have to have pencil paper. Some have to have computers. Some have to, but the most important thing is, do we have each other? Can we talk to each other about the creativity? And that goes here. The next one would be completing the 7. And I'm sorry to take so long on this, but this is the one that is misunderstood the most, in my personal opinion, because they named it Imani. Of course, the dance company I do is called Imani. But faith, what is faith? Okay, in our culture, we had life. Our faith was based on observation, knowledge. And so if every Tuesday you show up at 6 o'clock and you're supposed to show up at 6 o'clock, my faith is based on the fact on Tuesday you're going to do what?
Show up on 6 o'clock.
There we go. Now, if every Tuesday you late, my faith is based on what?
Every Tuesday you're going to be late.
Okay. So we have to have our faith, right, based on what we do. It's not what we say. It's what we do. Come on, y'all, work with me here. It's not what we say, it's what we do. Right. And my actions will tell you where my faith is according to the culture. My actions will do that. Can I get up? All right? Okay.
Brother says, give thanks.
That's right. That's right. And as Ajani would say, that's right. So, right. And Brother Nomo too.
That's right.
We always knew that certain people, we knew that they were going to do what they said they were going to do. That's right. That's right. Now, Mama Lona would say she going to open. Does she open? So our faith is that Mama Lona says she's going to do something, what's going to happen?
And she's going to do something.
Okay. Now, some of us, if we say we're going to do it, we know we have an intent to do it, but we have to work with us, right? So we're working on it, okay? Now, the other thing is, how do we celebrate this? We celebrate this, and these only 3 we're going to do, is with this thing that's called the Kikombe Cha Umoja. Now, when we were learning all of this stuff here, we got, what are these people talking about? Well, basically, it's the Unity Cup. There was a time. There was a time. That's right. There was a time. On 3, 1, 2, 3.
There was a time.
And that time is still here.
And that time is still here.
When we drank out of the same cup. Yes, we did. We was in the circle drinking out of the cup, and folks was going I don't know if I want to do that or not. But we did. Then we went to little individual plastic cups where we would pour that stuff in, and everybody was supposed to hold their cup, but the children were already drinking. So wait a minute, we had to go back again. But we have to take a look at the symbolism of a ritual.
Right.
And the symbolism of the ritual is the unity that we must do something. The ritual is doing something. So the something is, in this family, is to find out how can we all drink from the same cup. Now, I know some of y'all out there saying, give everybody a cup. And we all drink at the same time. That's not what we're talking about. And then some of y'all in there saying, oh, I know what. Let's have a cup and then give each person a straw. But wait a minute. I'll go. I'll go. Would that be creativity?
That's creativity.
All right. And remember, we're talking about tradition and reason. Because the tradition Back in the days of Kemet, back then was one thing, and now we done moved up to the 20th century here, or the 21st century, and we're talking about how do we reason what they did now, then what we do now, since somebody dammed up the Nile. The Nile doesn't flow like it used to. The stars are not in the same position they used to be. So how do we make that adjustment in the reasoning? So how do we think about this? Well, come over now. How do we drink from the unity cup as one, the same cup? One of the things would be is that who are we? And we know who we are. So therefore, do I have to literally drink a liquid from this?
No.
Do I have to literally drink a liquid from this? No. Can I know that the liquid is in here, which is our faith in each other, our understanding of each other? So I can drink and then pass it. And she drinks and then pass it. And then he drinks and then pass it. I'm going to let y'all sit down and do this. She drinks and then pass it. And he stands and then drinks and passes it. And then he drinks and then pass it. And then comes the brother Lubala, and he's already thinking whether he's going to drink or not. And then he drinks and then passes it. And then drinks and got the mama loaded it, then pass it. And then drinks and then pass it. Notice that brother Kwame used both hands. So, let me let you, go ahead. I think. Well, I'll tell you. I'll go. All right. According to the tradition, we all drank from the same cup. According to the reasoning, we knew we have to drink from the same cup. Did we accomplish that this morning?
Yes, sir.
I should. But now we have to use one of their words. And when I say their words, I'm talking about the British language, not the English language, the British language. Do we believe what we just said?
Yes.
Do we understand what we just said?
Yes.
So if that's the case, then we can take the cup now and place it there.
Does the cup have to be wood too?
Somebody asked a question?
Does the cup have to be wood?
Oh, excellent question. Yeah. As we move through this, there's different cups depending on which group you're with. Like in rites of passage, the cup was wood at the beginning, but as you moved up the scale of elders, you get to a different cup. The elders normally there would have a crystal glass, which represents that they have, and then, so we get what? Creativity again. We try to expand on it. And then what is the original cup? Your two hands together. And you drink from that. So if we all are really drinking, we can all go like this and then drink. So that's an excellent question. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
You've always said no plastic.
Well, what this family does is no plastic. Now, if we're someplace where there's no cup, then we use our hand. But what must you do with your hands before you put the water in? Yeah, you have to cleanse them. You have to cleanse. In fact, you should have been cleansed before you even did this. No plastic, this family. Now, if you're somewhere else in somebody else's house, you're in their house, and they hand you a plastic cup, you got a choice. You can say, I'm not going to do it, or you can respect their house and use the plastic cup. That's on you. But as an elder or nation builder or warrior of the Tawi family village, when we go over those kind of things, you'll be able to understand what choices that you have to make. Now, those who have said, okay, it's rigid, we must do it this way, that's different. But it's always a choice. Brother Lumala is always in a situation where he's asked to do libation. They always have all kinds of things. Sometimes they have plants, sometimes they don't have plants. Sometimes they all kinds of things. So he has to make the decision how he wants to do it. One of the other things Brother Lumala does is when he asking you to, before he pours libation, he asks you to do what? Stand. He asks you to stand. So from his point of view, if you're not standing, and he also does something else at certain places. He takes off his
hat,
shoes.
Oh.
Because he knows that the space that he's going to enter, he has already named it as sacred space. And so in that sacred space, he will honor that by doing that with his shoe. So you may see him running around with no shoes on because that's what he had done. So your question is definitely a good one because it tells you the different thing. Now, is there one way? No, not right now. As you can see, that we're doing it different ways. So we were going to go and like the Matsu Masaba. They like leaning like they on the lean. Look at them. They look like they're all leaning like they on the lean. Like they done called up what's a Google and Google. I got it. Here, I'm gonna put a thing here. They called up Google and asked why they leaning. I call up Google all the time and ask her where her shoes is. And she tells me, sometimes she gives me a list of shoe companies, and then sometimes she knows it's me, and she said, I don't have to tell you where my shoes are. I mean, she does it all the time. Okay, here we go. That's it. What was that? That's creativity.
Yeah, one on the end leaning in the green. Yeah, right, you might yeah, lean a little bit. There we go. Good thing.
I'm gonna now I'm gonna ask. Okay, good. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, Mama Lona. Now, of course, you know this. We're gonna add one other thing to the table here, and thanks for y'all patience. Is artifact. Now, this is a drummer. Notice that there's no dancer up here. So I'm asking y'all somewhere along the line to trip in something and get us a dancer. Because this drummer can't be here by himself. That's just not right. That's okay. All right. I have to get some water. Buffalo is ready already. So we do the, okay. Notice we put down the red, black, and green because this family takes a look at Marcus Garvey and all that Marcus Garvey did. And while we know he was doing an effective job because he was definitely supported. And we also have a Marcus Garvey festival. I mean, a place like that. And so therefore, for the family, you see we have the red, black, and green flag here. And that when we do other things, we'll also have the black, red, and green flag, and we'll also have the green, red, and green flag. We ready?
Let Clifford do that.
Oh, okay. Clifford's doing something? Yeah, that's deep. I'm gonna light just the black candle, which means what?
Unity.
Okay. Okay, can you come over with me? Well, I like this. Wait a minute. How do I say that? I'm supposed to remember.
Wait. Oh, gee, Nina Ta Umoja.
Nina Ta Umoja. I like this candle in the name of Umoja.
Unity.
In this family. Yeah, no, this one's broken at the top. We don't have this at the candle. So I did the best. That's not good. Yeah, that's right. So in this family, the black candle is looked at as all the other principles come out of the unity. Because without the unity, nothing else is possible. Because that's the way we look at it. And now we want to.
Listen, her body got it. Hear me now, listen later, listen. Her body got it. Listen, look. Her body got it. Listen. Moja Kujichagulia, Gye-Nyame, Nia Kuumpa Emani, Kwanzaa. Moja Kujichagulia, Gye-Nyame. Listen look. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Listen look. Ujima. Listen look. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kumba, creativity. Imani, faith. Mali, moja, kujichagulia. Ujima, ujama. Nia, kuumba, imani. Espanza. Moja, kujichagulia. Ujima, ujama. Nia, kuumba, imani. Espanza. Listen look.
Do your African dance is your part? Do your African dance is your part? Do your African dance is your part? Genetics, dance your part. Genetics, dance your part. DNA, is your part.
Habari gani? Listen look. Mzuri sana. Listen. Habari gani? Hear me now. Mzuri sana. Hear me now. Listen later. Listen. Habari gani? Listen look. Mzuri sana. Listen. Habari gani? Listen look. Mzuri sana. Moja kujichagulia. Ujima, ujama. Nia kuumba imani. Espanza. Moja kujichagulia. Ujima, ujama. Nia kuumba imani. Espanza. Listen look.
Yo, if you didn't know, now you know. Once I got 7 principles, we live by the code. Unite all the sisters and my bros. We got power in our soul, professional. When I put the beat with the flow, I got water on the low. Drip for the cool, winter in the 614. Red, black, and green candles. Lit.
It's your part. Do your African dance is your part. Do your African dance your part. Do your African dance is your part. Do your African dance is your part. Do your African dance your part. Do your African dance your part. Do your African dance your part. Do your African dance.
Habari gani? Mzuri sana. Habari gani? Mzuri sana. Habari gani? Mzuri sana. Habari gani? Mzuri sana.
Do your African dance is your part. Do your African dance is your part. Do your African dance is your part. Genetics, dance your part. Genetics, dance your part. DNA, is your part.
Habari gani? Listen look.
Mzuri sana.
Listen.
Habari gani?
Hear me now.
Mzuri sana.
Listen later. Listen.
Habari gani?
Listen look.
Mzuri sana.
Listen.
Habari gani?
Listen look.
Mzuri sana.
Moja kujichagulia. Ujima, ujama. Nia kuumba imani. Espanza. Moja kujichagulia. Ujima, ujama. Nia kuumba imani. Espanza. Listen look. Listen look. Moja unity. Listen look. Kujichagulia. Self-determination. Listen look. Ujima. Listen look. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kumba, creativity. Imani, faith. Mali, faith.
Habari gani? Mzuri sana. 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 Habari gani? Mzuri sana.
It's your part.